It's UFC Card collab number 15. Is Alex Pereira a top 10 fighter of all time? If we could pick our dream parallels, what would they be? And Top's Finest seems to be coming out. Is Damian going to pick one up? As always, hope you enjoy this video. All right, I've got hair down. The lion mane is out, and Damian's on Fight Island at a secret location this week. What's up, Damian? Thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, we had a special request from one of our OG fans. So shout out to DK Displays. I had to do it for our guy DK. But yeah, currently working away from home at the moment this week. So on a secret location, but still putting in the time here to get this collab done and have a good time. So I'm ready for it.
Thanks, man. We appreciate it. I appreciate it, and I know the viewers appreciate it as well. Speaking of viewers, we got another viewer question this week. Thank you so much to Maddie Mac who gave us this viewer question, and go ahead and leave us some questions in the comments below for that we can answer next time on Damian's channel. And the question was, if you could design your own UFC card set, what parallels would you choose, and how many, and why? So, Damian, I'll let you go ahead and take it away from there.
So obviously shout out to Matty Mac. I know he's a loyal viewer for both of our channels, and we do want these questions. So be sure to get them down in the comments below. But this was a good question. I actually had a bit of fun thinking about this one, and it should be no surprise to anyone who has watched my content over the time. And I'm more a purist. I don't obviously Prism got a little bit wacky with the amount of parallels, and even Chrome now the amount of parallels that they put out that are not numbered. So I'm going with a bit of a more purist uh, stance on this one, and all these parallels are going to be numbered. And we're starting off even with the simple silver refractor. I'm going to have that number to 500. I really like the silver refractor, and I kind of wish it was more limited. I think it would be really cool if the parallels that we had, if we knew exactly how many copies there were. Obviously, the companies making the cards aren't going to like me at all for this because they're not going to get out as many boxes and cases. But regardless, this is my dream set. So I'll be having the silver refractor number to 100. And then we'll be jumping all the way down to an emerald green number to 100. And that's when we're going to get the nitty gritty of it here. After we have the emerald green, I think we're going to have sapphire blue to 50. I really like the blue parallels. I've been liking blue more for parallels lately, and I think having it at a number of 50 as opposed to the 175 or even the 200 that we had for Prism, I think 50 is a nice number to have it where it's quite rare, but it's still available as well for collectors out there. And then we're going to halve it again down to the ruby red, number 25. Obviously, red number to 5 for most for all tops chrome. The red for Prism was all the way up there at 300, 275 as well. I'm going to have it there once again at a rarer number. I like it when it's close to there, but not quite 5. So I'm going to have the ruby red at 25. And then I think gold is definitely fits best for out of 10. I know obviously Topps Chrome this year and what we're used to it this year. Well, it's been a little bit all over the place this year, hasn't it? We had
Yeah.
out of 50 for Topps Chrome. Even the most recent release for Knockout, how we had gold parallels to 8, which is a little bit wacky, but I like gold to 10. And then I want to keep, because I like gold parallel, I think gold parallels is almost one of the most popular parallels. I want to keep that as limited to I can. And so therefore, I'm not going to have an out of 5. I'm going to go straight down to the 101. And I really do like the idea of the diamond parallels for 101s just because they're such a unique design. I'm not talking about like the disco designs. I'm talking more like the Topps Finest diamond or even the Topps Chrome diamond parallels. But then I like the black as well. I like having black in that it is so unique. It is so distinguished from all the other colors. There's no messing around when you see a black card when you had the black prism. So I'm going for the black diamond refractor 1 of 1. And they're my 6 parallels that I'm going to have as a desired dream set. What did you come up with,
Nice.
Zach?
The main event set. I had kind of some similar thoughts there. One difference I had was I wanted the silver in mine too, right? And let me go to the screen share because I didn't know what Damien had, but I'll just have the kind of a little teleprompter to help me talk here. Yeah, but I'll have the silver, but my silver is gonna be how they did it in Prism. And it's going to be a card for the people, Damian. No numbered. It'll be super out there. Just anybody can collect it. And when I was doing this, I was going to go a similar route and have everything be limited as well. But then I was thinking, like, a lot of people don't have the means and the funds, and I was like, I want to at least get one nice looking parallel for them that you can just collect on the cheap. It'll look good, have it in the display. So the silver is for the people, no number on the silver. And the next one, I agree with you. I really like the blue as well, so I decided to go with like the prism blue as my next one. And that one is going to be a little bit more rare of 199, kind of similar to the print run that Panini had with theirs. A little bit more rare, but not too crazy. And then the next one I wanted was the Black Pandora. And I really like this one. I'd put this one at of 99. Pretty rare, but not too crazy, but I think it looks good. And next up we're getting into the real limited here. We have the orange. I think you said it best. You said it's like the poor man's gold. I mean, I really like that saying because in certain lights, when you see the orange, it really does kind of look gold. So I'm gonna go with the gold here, or the orange here at 50. The poor man's gold. I think it looks good. It's really clean. And it's also really bright, which I appreciate as a design. And then after that, we got the Mojo, and this one is of 25. I'll keep it exactly the same. This is one of my favorite parallels. I think it looks awesome in person, and this is a great picture here with the Yuri as well. And then we're getting down into the real rare now, going with the gold of 10. And I completely agree with you. I think it's one of the prettiest cards you can get. So we'll go with gold of 10, keep that the same. Next up, we got the red of 5. I do enjoy the red parallels as well. And maybe it's just because they're more limited nowadays that I tend to actually look for them more. And maybe if you would have asked me this during Panini's run, it would have been different. But because of the look of it, because of the recency bias, I'm gonna give it 5. And then for one, gotta be the superfractor, man. I think that's one of the best parallels that there is, and I really like it. So I'm gonna go with the superfractor 1 of 1. Now this seems like a lot of cards, but this is a print run of less than 400 in my dream set. For comparison, 2021 Prism had 1,015 numbered parallels. So this is half, more than half of what um, Prism had in 2021. So that is Zachary's dream set as well. This is a really fun question. Thank you, Maddie Mac. Let us know down in the comments below what your dream set is. What are your favorite parallels? And also leave us any other questions for next time on the show that we can answer on Damian's channel.
Yeah, be exciting to hear the people's favorite parallels for sure. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's a good one. So to write them down, let us know.
Yes, sir. All right. Next we're talking about what's news, and I think we're gonna get Topps Finest next. I know you're a huge fan of Topps Finest. Are you gonna get a box? Can you commit right now to the people? Are you gonna get a box? I think you should do it, man. What are you thinking right now? Hot seat.
You put this question in front of me, and I really had to think hard because I know how seriously people take this show. They're going to take my response on this question. So I don't take this question lightly. So I want to state that here first and foremost. So I have given this good thought. Finest, I've made public numerous times, is my favorite set from Topps, and it's my favorite UFC set ever. So it makes sense, right? It makes sense. This is a return of Finest. We haven't had it for 11 years now. So it's time to buy a hobby box. Time to open my first hobby box.
DJ Horn, pee 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 pee. That's awesome,
But
man.
I thought about this. You know what? Because you've jumped the gun here a bit. You haven't let me finish. I'm going to ramble on a little bit here, Zach, if you don't mind now. I thought about this. I'd be only buying a hobby box. The only two fighters I'm currently collecting at the time are Max Holloway and Sean O'Malley. They would be the only two fighters who I'd be interested in owning a card of, getting a card of. And the 2024 rookie class, other than Shara the Bullet and Diego Lopez, I probably couldn't name another rookie from 2024. So the rookie class is definitely lacking this year. I'm actually super pumped for the rookie class next year, 2025. We have people like Peyton Talbot. We're going to get Kayla Harrison with the first
Yeah,
UFC card.
that's a
We're
big
going to
one.
get people like, I'm pretty big on Morgan Chari as well, the French fighter. And we're also going to have, hopefully, a first ever card for Charles Air Jourdain. I mean, I've been
Yeah,
banging on this
yeah.
for about 3 years now. We
There's
still haven't got one, but
multiple people.
hopefully he has a rookie card for 2025. So when I thought about this, I thought, you know what? Although it's my favorite set, I don't think this is a year I'm going to do it. So no, I actually don't think I'm going to be buying a
What?
hobby box for this year. And if anything, it makes more sense as long as I like the design for maybe Chrome or something 2025. If I don't get those two fighters, Max Holloway, Sean O'Malley out of the box, at least I got a chance of getting a cool rookie that I'm hyped about, or could potentially be, help get
Yeah,
return on investment for the box. So that's my thoughts on Finest as in terms of buying a box. I will be super hyped about, with I don't know if we can talk about it now, but some of the parallels that have sort of leaked out. It does look like a cool set, and I definitely will be scouring eBay for my favorite fighters for some of those parallels from Finest. What are you
nice,
doing?
nice man. That's I'm gonna go ahead and hit the sad button right now. Oh, and then let the people are let down. But you guessed it. We'll go ahead and screen share real quick. And I was hoping that we would be teeing this up, and I'd be like, you're gonna hit one of these in your box. But we got a leak of the Sean O'Malley finest here. And it does look like a pretty clean set, and this picture is even a little bit better, I think. And that to me, that is really slick right there.
The Intimidators. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that. And this is up 10. And if you look in the back, it says Aqua Glitter 15, Red Shimmer 10. So I think that might be a little leak of two parallels that could potentially be in this box. But really clean set. I'm excited for it. And again, we have on-card autos, so I think can say what you want about a lot of things, but at least this year, we're getting multiple products with on-card autos. And if the $200 price point of Knockout continues, and maybe we even get a little bit lower, I do think that there is a decent amount of value that you could potentially get with these products. So I think we're trending in the right direction with that.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. To have multiple products in the same year with on-card autos, I mean, that's such an improvement from what we've had for the past 3 or 4 years. So that's big, that's awesome. And then you made a good point, price point. I mean, if this is getting below $200, your
Yeah.
boy might be tempted. So we'll see. We'll
Nice.
we'll see. We'll see what the price point's at. And as I said, you never know. I could see some of these parallels and just be like, oh, I need to grab one and not be too too worried about having to pull just a Max Holloway or a Sean O'Malley in order to be happy. But we'll wait and see. But yeah, I'm definitely pumped that Finest is back. Then I'm actually even more pumped for when I think about it for 2025 product.
Nice. All right. Next up, we have agree or disagree.
Agree or disagree?
That is the question. All right, so this week we got the statement, Damian. The boy Potan has been just ripping through. He's on a pretty insane run right now. So the question that I pose to you is, Alex Pereira is a top 10 male UFC fighter ever right now. Do you agree or disagree? Is Alex P a top 10 UFC fighter?
Super good statement here, and I know you're a bit of a stats guy, Zach. So I'm gonna come back at you right now with some facts. We're
Nice.
just gonna start off with
I
some
love it.
facts here, all right? Alex Pereira, he's a two division champ in the UFC, and little known maybe, he was actually the first ever double champ, like two division double champ in Glory Kickboxing as well. So not only is he a two division champ in UFC, he's also the first ever double champ in Glory Kickboxing. He's had 3 successful title defenses at light heavyweight in UFC. He also has the shortest time and fewest fights to win championships in two divisions in UFC history. 736 days, 7 fights, two, and he's had two championships over two different divisions. He's tied with Daniel Cormier right now for the third most title fight wins in UFC light heavyweight division with 4 title defenses. He has the shortest time for 3 consecutive title defenses in UFC history. So all 3 title defenses coming in within 175 days this year.
That's so crazy.
He's the first and only fighter to win the UFC middleweight and light heavyweight championships. He also has the fewest MMA fights to become a 2-division UFC champion with 11 MMA fights. He's also tied with Matt Hughes, Randy Couture, Chuck Liddell, and TJ Dillashaw for second most knockouts in UFC title fights.
Wow, really?
And we're
That's
going
a
to
good
finish it
stat.
off with probably my favorite fact of all these ones. If you type in Alex P in Google or Bing search engines, who do you think is the first result? And I'll give you a hint, Zach. It's not Alex Pereira, who's a famous British actor. Who is the first top result if you type in Alex P in Google?
It's got to be him, no?
It's our boy, Alex Pereira.
It's got to be him.
So to answer your question, to answer the statement, I 1000% agree. Alex Pereira is already top 10 UFC fighters of all time.
Nice, man. I love the data that you brought this week. Some really good facts. A lot of them I had never even heard before. So thanks for doing that. Okay. You got an agree. Now I'm gonna go through some reasoning here. So when thinking about this, I was thinking about, we're talking about the best of all time. We're talking about all the resumes that have ever competed in the sport. And so I had to just kind of start making my list to see like where is Alex P right now? And this really helped me kind of narrow down my decision and kind of get to where I wanted to go with it. And so I started with my personal top five, right? My personal top five is John Jones, GSP, The Spider, Mighty Mouse, and Habib. You can kind of shuffle them in whatever order, except Habib. I think he's at the very end, right on the edge at five. So we got five there. And then in no particular order, I've got DC, Izzy, Stipe, and Islam. And then we have a lot of people in this tier that I think is right where Alex P is. And those people I think are Aldo, Usman, Volk, and then Alex P. And I think he is right on the gate, right on the edge of 10. And I think you could put him in right now as 10, but I'm going to hold him out. He's got to get one more. He's got to get one more win, but I think it's extremely razor thin. I have no problem with people putting him as a top 10 fighter at all. Personally, I'm going to hold him. I'm going to hold him outside and make him get one more defense here at 205. I would be shocked if he does not do more in his career to solidify himself as a no argument top 10 guy, because he's basically already there right now. And we'll see what happens this weekend with Ankalaev and Rakic, but I think he has good matchups in 205. He has the possibility of going back down to 185. Like there's so many options for him to continue his run. And despite his age being up there, he still looks relatively fresh. And like you said, he had the crazy win streak with, multiple wins, multiple knockouts, and he really didn't take too much damage except in that last Roundtree fight. So I think his chin, besides the Izzy KO, is still relatively fresh within his UFC run. So I'm going to, for now, disagree with the statement, but it's a baby disagreement. It's a baby disagreement, and we're basically agreeing. And in after hearing those reasons, I really want to just fold. But with the resume of Aldo, well, with the resume of Volk, I think Potan's competition is really the only thing that's kind of holding his resume back at this point. With the Yuri wins, Yuri was a one-time champ. The Izzy, in my opinion, the Izzy win is the best win, and we know that Izzy got that back and absolutely put his lights out like we've never seen before. So I think strength of schedule wise is the only con that I could think of when it comes to his resume. And one more win, and he's in my top 10. So people in the comments below, what do you think about this? I think we're pretty much in agreement, honestly. But I would be interested if there are people who don't think that he's a top 10 guy. Let us know in the comments below.
Yeah, let us know why. But yeah, definitely, I love your top 10. I mean, you can't really argue with your top 10 as well. But as I said, what actually sealed the deal for me is those records that he is
Yeah.
are already currently holding in such a short time. And honestly, I don't really see a potential for those to be broken anytime soon. So
The three KOs and what was it, 170 7 days or something like that.
Three title fights and three title wins in 175 days.
Yeah, that's what's 100. I'm bad at math. What's
And then
175 divided
even
by three? That's like uh
it's a bit over 60,
yeah, like that's 2 months per fight. Like
65 or
that's
something.
in absolutely
And
insane.
not even that. He's UFC. Regardless of what you want to say about UFC, making, because I thought about the favorable matchmaking as well. Obviously, he's had favorable matchmaking, but even still, UFC have done that. They did start doing that with Alex Pereira. They've done that for a
That's
long
true.
time. The fact that he's had only 11 professional MMA fights and he's already a UFC two division champion is also insane. So
Yeah. No,
shout out to
his
Alex Pereira.
shout out to the number one Alex P in Google. Yeah, that I mean his run is really going to be legendary, and I've been kind of holding back in order to purchase him just because I wanted to see what happens with his career. That's kind of my new philosophy when it comes to these guys is I want them to build their resume, improve it, and then once they've proven it, I'll kind of buy in afterwards, after the fact. And we'll see if that comes to fruition as being a good idea or a bad idea. But I know that he's really getting to the point where I am going to be wanting to have him in the display and have a sick card of his because all the things we've listed today and his future, what he can do in the future, is just going to continue to set records and continue to be really really fun. And yeah, man, I'm excited to see him fight in the future. And speaking of fights in the future, we got our pay-per-view buys.
For
For
pay-per-view
pay-per-view
buys.
buys. All right, so last time, Damian, we had pay-per-view buys 307. Let's recap what happened with you on those.
Yeah, so I had two Juliana Pena cards. That was probably the first and biggest problem.
I mean, she did get the
she
dub.
she won, right? But I mean,
Yeah,
I think there's a lot of people
yeah.
who that was a very close fight. A lot of people who probably didn't think that she deserved to win, but she did win. And I was a little bit surprised how badly I did on this. Thankfully, I didn't put both to auction. I had a 2015 Champions Auto, which is a sticker auto for her. It's a second year card. And then I also had a 2015 Champions, just like a Chronicles, sorry, not Champions, it's Chronicles, PSA 9 slab, just a base slab. That was at a buy it now. That was absolute crickets. No action on that. No
You got
surprise.
nothing?
And then the auto I put out at auction, and that sold for a massive $4.25. So
Mm.
plus
Oof.
shipping.
Oof.
Someone in Canada bought that card, so thanks to them, at least it got $4.25 and not 99¢. So that was just an overall total bust. A little bit surprised, but then again, I probably shouldn't be. You live and die by the sword.
It's true, man. True. You live and die, and the auctions are risky. So I had the Alex P. Pandora up 99 and the rated rookie of blue. I decided to do it. I had this up as a buy it now for 74.99, and it sold, man. Somebody actually gave me an offer for 60, and I was like, no, I'm gonna wait and see. He ends up winning. Great fight. It sold for 75. Now rated
Yeah, nice.
rookie, the rated rookie here I had up um as an auction, and it ended up going to $46, which I honestly think was too low. I'm very surprised that it only got up to $46, and it could have been the timing of the auction, but I wasn't that happy with that. I really wanted it to be, closer to 60 plus. It's a really clean card. I think it's a really nice card. So for only to get 46 for it, I was a little bit sad, but understandable. And that's kind of how it goes with the auctions, man. But in the future, I probably will just stick to a buy it now. And if it sells, it sells. If it doesn't, I'll try again next time. But
Do
what
you
are your,
do you
yeah,
re- do you remember how that one did, like viewers and watch wise and bids and stuff like that with Alex? Because that is surprising. And
it
I
did
actually,
well. It did well.
hmm,
So I think it
yeah,
was like 60 views maybe. There was multiple people bidding. There was above 10 plus on the watchers. I want to say it was like 15 or 20. So I thought it was going to go at least 50 plus. Then only go to 46 was a little bit disheartening. And I think it maybe have just been the time of the auction because I had it end at like 2 o'clock on Monday or something. Like I think I misdid the timing of it. is my only guess.
Okay.
Pay-per-view buys 308 coming up. What do you have going for 308? And I asked that question, and I also have the answer here. So so go ahead and let's
So
look
yeah,
at
we'll
some of this
start it off because
data.
I have an absolute stack of cards. I've been trying to
Hmm.
just throw my cards out the window, stuff that I don't want, trying to consolidate down just because I don't want to be moving things in the coming future. But yes, I have a stack of cards listed, and they're all relevant fighters, at least in my own opinion. We're going to go through these right now. We can see the Ilya Topuria, the rated rookie from the Panini Instant Set 2022. 11 views, 3 watches. That one is my only buy it now at
Okay.
$19.95. So we'll see if that one sells.
Hmm.
We then also have the Rakic
I remember this one.
2020 Striking Signatures, which I bought for a previous pay-per-view buys,
Hmm.
but I didn't get it in time in order to sell it. We can see that as a starting bid of 99 cents with 0 bids, 1 watch, and 4 views. So Alexander Rakic, rest in peace to his card prices because
Yeah.
that one is.
What are you in? What are you in this one for?
I'm into that one for the full $30, I believe, for the
Oh,
full value of what we had the pay per view buy. So this, if he doesn't, even if he does win, this might be a whole Julian Pena 2.0. This might sell for another $4.25. But that's what you get when you run the gauntlet like I am. We'll
you
go
never
over to
know.
the.
He could
We'll
have
see.
a crazy finish, and then the prices just fly up. Hopefully, anyway.
This is a surprising one. So this is a 2023 Hamzat Chimaev. It's a blue prism, number
Hmm.
175, PSA 10. I got this one graded myself. I'm into this one for about $40 or $50, including grading. So we are currently at 13 views with 8 watches and 0 bids, which I do not understand. I don't know why no one has not put a dollar bid on this. This card is up for grabs, people. You're probably going to get it at a dollar the way that this is going. So not sure what is going on here, but hopefully
That is surprising.
I'm not really picking Hamzat to pick to win this fight, but I just want this card gone. As I said, if I'm going to sell this card, it's got to be now. So
Right.
that's why this one's up for auction, and
Nice.
we're spinning the roulette table. Now this
Yeah,
is
you
where the
are.
action heats up.
Yeah, this is
This
crazy.
is this is no surprise, but this is once again these are cards that I've moved on from. I have, and I've at one point I had about 6 or 7 Max Holloway rookie cards. And there's no need for that. I've sort of said I'm consolidating down. I don't want to have 7 rookie cards, even some of these from the same set. So it just didn't really make sense. So that's why I'm moving off some of them. And I think this is the fight to do it. And
Yeah.
that's why these are at auction. We can see they are generating good numbers.
Yeah, good
We
stuff.
have his 2013 Topps Finest Moments rookie blue parallel number to 188. It's a blue refractor, diamond refractor. 22 watches, 36 views, 5 bids, currently at $7.50. So hopefully that one moves up
Hmm.
later on in fight week, and obviously that one will be finishing on the Sunday afternoon after the fights. We then have this on-card auto, which I was super hesitant to sell. This is the only on-card auto I have of Max,
Mm.
but I recently purchased actually a signed photo with an inscription in red ink. It says the best is blessed. I bought that after his win at UFC 300. So it's not my only on-card on. I mean, yeah, not on-card auto because that's not a card, but you know what
Yeah.
I mean. Like I've
Yeah.
got other hand-signed memorabilia from Max, and once again, this is one that I loved at the time, but now I don't have a space for. So that's why this one is up for sale. This one is
And
doing massive numbers,
yeah, dude,
no
insane
surprisingly.
numbers. 46 watchers. That's almost half of the views. That's awesome.
It's debut Topps Chrome 2017. It's an on-card auto. It's a gold parallel, and it's also a PSA 9, which is a strong grade
Nice.
for a card like that. So
What are you in?
we'll
What are
see
you
how
in
this
for
one
this card?
moves. I'm into this one. I bought this one probably 2 years ago. I think
Hmm.
I got this at auction for about 120 or something two
Oh,
years ago, which
nice.
I even thought was a steal back then. So
Yeah.
we'll see what this one runs up
Yeah.
to.
I see this one says
I'm ex-
promoted. Are you promoting this one? And have you ever done that before? What are your thoughts on that?
so there's sometimes I do promote it. I find that when I do promote it, the recommendation promotion is like 13 or 15%, which is way too high. The lowest you can do is 2%, and that's what I do because I figure no one really else promotes UFC cards, especially when it comes to auction. So even if you do it at the 2%,
Right.
you're going to get the push from eBay over those other listings. So At 2%, it's worth it, and hopefully, as I said, even though it's promoted, hopefully get 2% more extra on the
Right.
sale price, which justifies a promotion. But no, I don't do that for every auction, but sometimes I do it. Yes.
Just the bigger cards.
Not really the bigger cards. I mean, it's just a bit of a random
Okay.
thing more often actually. And then we have two more Max Holloway cards.
More
Once again,
massive
another
numbers,
rookie,
dude. Massive.
another 2013 Bloodline flag parallel, numbered to 188. Another rookie card that, as I said, I've got the two finest refractors, the gold number to 88 and the blue number to 188 in the finest from 2013. They're the two rookie cards I'm going to hang on to because they're the ones I treasure most. And that's why I'm selling these other ones. But this one doing 41 views, 27 watches, and 7 bids, currently at $28. That one promoted as well at 2%. So we'll see how that one does. And then over that one, we do have the Prism Red Auto from 2021 debut Prism. That one numbered to 49 with 77 views, 37 watches, and 8 bids. So you can really already see it's the autos that get the action when it comes to
Yeah.
people's attention. So these will be fun to see. I'll obviously be excited to bring these ones back to the people after UFC 308 to see how they do.
Yeah, man. Some interesting data points there. I'm really excited to see what the promoted ones do versus non-promoted. It seemed like just from numbers here, all the ones that are promoted have way more watchers and way more views. So if, like you're saying, if you can easily get the 2% over what that is, then that's a no-brainer to do that for, the bigger cards on the fight week. Some huge cards here. My list is not as star-studded as yours, honestly, and I'm just doing a 2021 Cyril Gahn Noir Chronicles of 99. Relatively cheap, man. I think I have it up for like a 20 or a 10. Buy it now. Um, I do think people are kind of sleeping on Cyril a little bit. I mean, when we'll talk about him later on in some of the matchups, but he's lost to guys like, let me put this name out there, Francis Ngannou and John Jones. Like, I mean, if those are your losses, and you know what I mean, like those are insane opponents. We're talking about, two of the baddest men to ever walk face of the earth on it and fight in MMA. And so I do think Cyril can do something special again against Volkov like he already did previously. So that's why I wanted to list him now, because I would favor him in that matchup. And also I have the champ 2022 Select Concourse Taporia Select Silver rookie card. Um, this card has been sitting in there forever. Again, it's not a huge card. It's a silver, right? It's unnumbered. There's a million of them, like we talked about earlier with our parallel talk. But I do think that this should move. It's a really it's a really clean card, and I think I have it up for only like 9.99. So like somebody, I have a feeling this one will sell, especially if he wins or if he does something spectacular. So those are my cards for this week. Not as star-studded. Damian's got a lot of money in this week. He's got the big boys selling, but hopefully you guys will appreciate those cards that are selling.
Yeah, no, I think, as I agree, Cyril Gahn, I mean, we're going to talk about this in a second, but obviously this is a number one contender heavyweight fight.
Yep.
So hopefully that one moves. And then Ili Topuria, as I said, if you got an easy buy-in price, $10 for someone who wants
Yeah.
to get, pick up an Ili Topuria rookie card, hopefully he loses. But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, that one's fairly priced. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that one moves as well, hopefully.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, man, this has been sitting here forever. Let me just throw it up for like $10. Maybe he'll win and somebody will just be like, whatever, it's $10 and buy it. But I didn't even think about that. We're kind of like battling this week because you have all the Max and I really only have one Tapuria. So I'm your friend. I kind of want Max to win. You have a lot more money on it than I do.
I was seriously contemplating not doing it with Max. I did it with Sean. I did it with Izzy. It didn't work out.
Yeah.
But once again, I mean, this is a fun fight, right? As I said.
Yeah.
So I broke the curse with Juliana. It didn't help anyway because the card went for $4.25. But I mean,
We're getting
we'll get
closer.
into
We're
it
getting
in a
closer
second
though.
with matchup. We'll get into it in a second with
Mhm.
matchups. But this is a scary one. This is a nervous fight for sure.
Yes, sir. All right, let's just do it right now. So UFC 308. We're going to talk about some matchups today. The first time we've ever talked about matchups, but I mean it's right there, right? Like whoever wins, their card prices are going to go up. Whoever wins, they're going to move up in the division. We have fun matchups to talk about. So we've got we'll just start it off with one of the biggest ones of this weekend, right? We've got Ilya versus Max. Ilya is minus 275, Max is plus 225. So the odds makers and Vegas are favoring Ilya somewhat, not definitively, but minus 275 is pretty big. So how do you think this one's gonna go down, Damian, and who do you have winning?
I really don't know. I've thought about this a lot, obviously, and I'm super nervous. It's always nerve wracking when you have one of your favorite fighters fighting. And as I said, like close. I got Sean here, and then Max is probably just about here somewhere in terms of like emotionally getting involved in the fights, wanting their careers to go as well as possible.
Mhm.
Had that downfall with Sean last month. I'm hoping Max does it. Obviously, this fight is a bit of a coin flip. Max has never been. He got knocked down. It didn't go down on the rap sheet, but he did get a
Yeah.
knockdown against Justin Gaethje. Did drop him down to a knee. So, but other than that, he's never been knocked down, never been knocked out. He's not easy to take down. It's going to be interesting to see where Ilya wants to sort of steer this fight.
Hmm.
I think both of these fighters need to be patient, and I think that'll happen. I think Max will definitely be maybe the more patient fighter at the start. I think that's his path to victory, to be honest. I think I, either of these guys could win. I'm obviously going to I'm going to root for Max. I want him to win, not only for him as a fan, but obviously then my cards are going to do better.
Yeah.
So I'm rooting for Max to win, and then after that, the world is his oyster. And I think if he beats Ilya, obviously, especially if he stops Ilya, whether it's a submission, whether it's a knockout, TKO, whatever, if he somehow finishes the fight, beats Ilya within 5 rounds, I think he is the cusp of the biggest star in the UFC. He's going to have the featherweight strap. He's going to have the BMF title as well. And he is just going to have. He already had options galore after winning the BFF belt, but I think we're really on the cusp of, Max Holloway being the most popular fighter in the UFC. I'm surprised he's already not. Obviously, he's got more love after UFC 300,
Yeah.
but he is such a likable guy. The skills there, the resume is already there, the legacy is already there with the run that he had as a featherweight champion. He hasn't lost since, beating everyone destructively since those losses to Volkanovski. So hopefully he wins. Topuria, as I said, he's a great fighter. You can't help but not like him. Even in his interviews, he's funnily confident. He comes across as arrogant, but it is funny too. And he obviously is a strong family man. I was watching him on the countdown just last night. Actually, he's a strong family man. You got to respect that. So I think even if Ilya loses this one, I think he still has a strong career ahead of him in the UFC. What about you?
Yeah, dude. Close fight. I can see, an outcome where I think both of these guys could potentially win. When talking about matchups, I kind of wanted to kind of break it down into in the different various disciplines of MMA, who do I think kind of has the edge? And I was thinking about, boxing. Both of these guys like to box. I think a lot of this is going to be on the feet. You did have a good point where it's like, where does Ilya kind of want to take the avenue of this fight? Because I do think he has better wrestling than Max, but he hasn't really used his wrestling much, honestly. He did it a little bit against Mitchell, but he kind of just likes to box. So when talking about boxing, I do think in the pocket, I do think Topuria is going to be a little bit sharper, a little bit more crisp. I think he's better defensively, but range wise, Max is way longer, and we did see Jai Herbert kind of give Topuria some trouble with the ranged weapons, and even knocked him down for a second. So in the pocket, I'm going to give it to Topuria. At range, I'm going to give the boxing to Max. Wrestling, I'm going to give to Topuria. Cardio, I'm going to give to Max. Power, Ilya. Technique, Ilya. Volume, maybe Max, but Topuria has had some fights, against Josh Emmett where he went absolutely ballistic and he was throwing heat that whole time. So I'm gonna give the edge to Topuria mainly because of I think the power differential is going to be pretty big in this one, and Max had a crazy knockout against Gaethje, but I think that that's not necessarily Max's style in most fights, and he was up a weight class with that, which I do think helped a lot. And he is going to be cutting a lot of weight for this. He always cuts a lot of weight for this. I think Topuria, while big, I think his frame is a little bit more natural in this weight class. So I'm going to go with Ilya, the Matador, El Matador, to win it. And let's talk about some future matchups here too. So if, let's say we've got Max at 2, right? We've got Ilya as champ. Let's say Max wins. What do you think is going to happen next? What would you want to see Max do?
I think Max wins. I think he gets that rematch with Volkanovski next year.
Yeah.
I think that's what happens. I think that's the clear, obvious answer there for sure.
Definitely would make sense. We know that Volk 100% would want to run that back as well. And I think Max would want to run that back too, because you're talking about 3 times that he lost to him.
Yeah, that's why I say that for sure. I think Max probably wants that one back more than even Volkanovski. So
Yeah, okay, let's say Topuria wins. What are you thinking here? I mean, you got Lopez, where do you think it goes if Topuria?
Still think Volkanovski. He has that check to cash in with long-standing featherweight champion, fought often, fought all the top guys, and he hasn't cashed in that rematch check for the featherweight strap yet. Yes, he's come off some losses from both Islam now up a weight class, and then back-to-back losses with Ilia Topuria, but I still think Volkanovski still deserves a rematch as well. But if it's not Volkanovski for whatever reason, I think they feed him Diego Lopez.
That would be a fun fight, man. I hadn't really thought about this too much until right now. But just as far as excitement goes, I think Diego versus Ilya would be super a fun fight. I also think Ilya would absolutely crack his head open if they did end up fighting. Now, who knows, because Diego's look pretty solid. With the Volk matchup, man, I don't know if I love that, honestly. I really enjoy Volk. I really have liked his run. But does he deserve a rematch after getting absolutely starched in the second round? I don't think he does, honestly. I would love to see him get on the right side of the win column and beat one of these names here, but I completely understand, long-standing champion. They love to book rematches, and it does seem like Topuria has a lot of respect for Volkanovski, and Volkanovski has a lot of respect for Topuria. So I could see the Topuria camp, like, kind of wanting that matchup, but I don't know if I would be super interested in that one as far as just the pure excitement aspect. I think there's more exciting matchups down the line.
Yeah,
Exciting
no, I
matchup.
agree.
We got
Yeah.
we got Whitaker versus Hamzat, man, and we've talked about Hamzat before. Hamzat -280, Whitaker +200. To me, those odds are insane. So Vegas is heavily thinking that Hamzat is going to take this. What do you think is going to happen?
Is this a 5 round or a 3 rounder?
This
Do you know?
is a co-main, so it should be a 5.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think the first round is going to be pretty slow on this one, to be fair. I mean, I Robert Whitaker's normally, he's not the one who, he's obviously more of a counter fighter. He
Yeah.
sort of reacts more so than pushes it. We're seeing Hamzat and used to Hamzat just straight a bull out the gate from the start
Hmm.
for every fight that he's ever had. But obviously he's been removed now for over a year. He hasn't fought in over a year. He seems to have changed a bit over the past 12 months. So I wouldn't be surprised if he has a bit more of a like a not relaxed, but a more patient approach to this fight. And it's also the first time I think we can say he's fighting a true 185er. He's fought in obviously middleweight before, but this is the first time he's fighting an elite middleweight in Robert Whitaker.
Yeah,
Robert
for
Whitaker
sure.
has all the skills that you need to have. He has the striking, he has the grappling. He's very, very hard to take down. We saw Yoel Romero struggle to take him down. We've seen Derek Brunson struggle to take him down. I really hope I mean, I'm one of those people who want to see Hamzat lose. I think, and I can see that happening depending on how much he's fixed. He's had cardio issues in the past. As I said, you would hope that he's corrected those, and he's going to be ready for the full 5 rounds. Because if he's not ready for the full 5 rounds, if he gasses out I don't think he finishes Whitaker in the first 2 rounds. Let's put it that way. So if he gasses out after 2 rounds, and then there's still 3, 4, 5 to go, I think he's in for a long night. I don't know if Whitaker is going to put him away. Not to say that he couldn't. We haven't really seen Hamzat Chimaev ever cracked on. Like, we don't know what he's how well he can take a shot. We saw Gilbert, Burns cracking pretty hard as well. But then again, Gilbert Burns was a 155er at one point.
Mm-hmm.
You would think that Robert Whittaker's going to crack him harder than what he's probably ever been cracked in his life. We've seen, he was up there with Kamaru. Once again, Kamaru is a 170er. So if this fight, I don't see, as I said, I don't think Hamzat's going to beat him within the first 2 or 3 rounds. And I think Robert Whittaker's still going to be there for rounds, end of 3, 4, 5. So I actually think, I see Whittaker winning this one, and I think it may go to a decision.
Nice. Yeah, no, we're pretty close in this one. I agree. I am just happy that I really hope that these guys make it to the octagon because I want to see Hamza in there with a true 185er. And like he's been doing this song and dance, and we haven't really seen him in forever. He's been pulling out. He's been battling a lot of injuries, battling a lot of sickness, and I just want to see if he's legit. And we know he is a great fighter, but like how good is he, and how good is he at this weight class is really the question that I want to get answered. Because when you're talking about Kamaru Usman versus Bobby Knuckles, like that is a big difference in size and stature and strength. And I don't know if Hamza is going to be able to ragdoll a person that is as strong and as skilled and as vet savvy as Robert Whittaker. And I think if he is not able to ragdoll him, I really think Whittaker takes him into deep water and really is going to do bad things to Hamza. I also am interested in the stylistic matchup as far as striking goes. Hamza is kind of very traditional in his striking, but Whittaker's not. He does that blitz. He blitzes in. He blitzes out. He's very elusive and very difficult to get into time. And he also has pretty slick high kicks. So I'm actually really excited about this matchup. I may even be more excited about this matchup than I am about the main event just because of the stylistic matchup of like all the unknowns that Hamza brings because we haven't really seen him at this weight class against a true 185er. We haven't seen him go 5 rounds. And like how much left does Bobby Knuckles have? Because we saw him get starched by DDP, but I think the difference in power between DDP and Hamzat, I would have to think that DDP has more power. So I would go Whitaker in this as well. I do think that plus 200 is a decent is a decent bet. And if I was a betting guy, I would probably put a couple bucks on that just because I think this should be much closer. I think it should be minus 150s for each guy. I think it should be really a pick 'em plus 150, minus 150, kind of in that territory. So I was surprised by these odds. Next up, we got Ankalaev versus Rakic. This is a big light heavyweight matchup. I know you want your boy Rakic to win since you have some cards of his up for sale. So how do you think this one's going to go down?
Yeah, this will be an interesting one. I think this could be closer to a stalemate for both of these fighters because they're both very skilled, both very similar on the feet as well in how they strike. Both very like thick set, like leg kick guys. So they might just try and kick each other to death. I would give probably the slight striking advantage to Rakic. Obviously, he's coming off a loss to Yuri, which I was super surprised. I thought he was going to, sort of wipe the mat with Yuri, but he didn't end up getting through Yuri. That was back at UFC 300, I think. But yeah, we haven't seen Rakic and we haven't seen Ankalaev, I think, since that draw that he had with Jan Blachowicz. Mistake if I'm wrong. It might be wrong there.
I know it's been forever. I know it's been
It
forever.
was forever. I remember he had the
Might have,
issues with UFC
was
afterwards
that the
because he
Johnny
was.
Walker one? It might have been the Johnny Walker fight when they ran it back. I think he ended up beating Johnny Walker pretty easy, I want to say.
Oh, okay. You might be right, but anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, I think stylistically it's going to be an interesting match. I don't think it's going to be the most exciting match on the card. I mean, Ankalaev, it's hard to go against him. I would if Rakic hadn't been beaten by Yuri, then I would probably pick Rakic, but I think Ankalaev is going to be hard to beat, and if he obviously gets through Rakic, you would think this is also going to be a number one contenders fight. So you would have whoever wins this fight would be next in line to versus Alex, which is a scary fight for Alex. We talked about his greatness just before, so never underestimate him. But yeah, I think I would edge Ankalaev in this fight, but I think it's going to be a super close one, and I wouldn't be surprised if it goes the distance and it's a close decision.
Yeah, it's a good point you brought up with the, contender fight. And this is why I really want to see Alex get one more win before I really want to put him into the top 10, because I think these two guys are probably the two most skilled guys and the two guys that probably pose the most problems for him. Like Rakic is super technical kickboxer, is basically the same size as Poatan. So I think that would be a really tough matchup for him in that sense. And then I think that you have Ankalaev, who's probably the best wrestler in this division, which obviously that's the matchup and that's the way that you would beat Alex P. And we haven't seen him face anyone that is really a good wrestler, which is obviously like half of MMA and half of the game plan. So that's really why I want to see one of these guys fight Alex P. And then I can put Alex P, solidify him in my top 10. But I think kind of agreeing with you. Rakic is a little bit more technical in his striking. I think he might be a little bit faster. Power probably pretty even with these two. But as far as wrestling goes, I think Ankalaev should have the edge in that. I'm gonna go ahead and pick Rakic here. I think watching Ankalaev versus Jan, Jan really gave him a lot of troubles on the feet, and I think that I think that Rakic might be a little bit, he got hurt when they fought with Jan, but it was a really close fight, and some think that he was winning that before he got hurt. So I'm going to edge Rakic here. Again, he's a pretty big underdog at plus 286, so maybe I am just being naive, but that's kind of where my head's at on this one. And
Need to
last
put a
up,
multi-bet in.
yeah, right. That could be good
Rakic
money though.
Holloway into Whitaker. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So we got last matchup I wanted to talk about with you, and it's Gane versus Volkov. Again, this is another contender matchup. Number one contender. Whoever wins this is going to be in line for the title shot, most likely. They're doing some weird stuff at heavyweight, so we really don't know right now. But we're talking about Cyril Gane versus Volkov. Right now, it looks like Gane is minus 250, Volkov's plus 210. So the odds makers think that Gane's going to take it once again, like he did a couple years ago. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, obviously two, you know, very, very skilled strikers within the heavyweight division. Both of these guys match up against each other with similar styles. Both tall, both fight with like a long, tall stance. Obviously, Gane bounces around a little bit more a little bit karate style, where Volkov is just that straight kickboxer. He looks super impressive in his last fight,
Mhm.
Volkov did. Was surprised about him because he's obviously been more of a bit of a slide for his career. He's been around for a long time now, but he looked really, really good in his last fight. But I'm going to give this one probably to Garn as well. And once again, as I said, I think this is really going to be a number one contenders fight for the heavyweight division. Obviously, minusing out Tom Aspinall and what happens between Stipe and John Jones next month. But I think this is a fight that might be, a number one contender fight, and I would probably give Garn the edge there. And I'd like to see Garn do a little bit better if he was to get a shot at the title. So
Yeah, I'd go ahead. I'd pick Cyril here as well. I think anytime you're talking about two people that have already fought before, there's a stat out there on who wins the rematch, and it's usually the guy that won the first one. Um, but for him to beat Volkov decisively before, on the feet, and we know Volkov is a technician. Like you said, he's absolutely giant. I believe he's the tallest person in the UFC. So it's a very difficult stylistic matchup. We saw him absolutely punish Sergey Pavlovich, who was on a tear, and he really beat him from buzzer to buzzer the entire time. Pavlovich really got nothing off in that fight. And so if Cyril can beat Volkov, he might be next up, right? And we're talking about him versus either Tom or him versus the winner of Jones Stipe. I really think both of them retire after this, but I think Tom versus Cyril would be a really fun matchup as well. And again, the only people that Cyril has really lost to have been Francis Ngannou and John Jones. So I think people are really kind of counting him out in this division. Um, but I'm excited for the future matchups in heavyweight with these two guys, with the three other guys at the top. You've got Pavlovich kind of walking around in there. I actually am kind of entertained by this heavyweight division at this time, and maybe historically that's because it's been not that fun of a division. But I do think that we have some pretty entertaining fighters and some well-rounded guys at the top who can do everything and who can do everything pretty well. But yeah, I'd go with Cyril as well on this one, and we'll see what happens, man. We got a couple cards in the mix that are gonna sell this weekend. A lot of tough fights, some fun fights, but I for one am just excited that we get to see some good matchups.
Yeah, super awesome card. This is definitely going to be a contender for card of the year for sure. Obviously, we haven't seen the event yet, but I mean, on paper, it's definitely
Yeah,
one of the best that we've seen. So hopefully, all the matchups pull through, and we just get to sit back and eat the popcorn and watch it play out.
yes, sir. Thanks everybody for watching. If you haven't, leave a question for next episode with Damian, and we can answer your questions and have a good time talking about random stuff, whatever you guys want to talk about. Thanks for coming on, Damian. I always appreciate it.
No, man, always a pleasure to get these done. And once again, we'll look forward to seeing everyone again heading into UFC 309 at Madison Square Gardens. Jones versus Miocic.
Oh yeah, gonna be a big one.
It's happening.
It's happening. All right, see you guys.
Bye.